Welcome to the Sword Art Online Wikia, and this is your introduction to Sword Art Online Volume 16 Alicization Exploding. In this video we will briefly cover the timeline, main locations and key characters of Volume 16, and thus the video will feature minor spoilers from Alicization Exploding. Sword Art Online Volume 16 Alicization Exploding is the second volume of Alicization's War of Underworld sub-arc and continues the events from the previous volume without any time skips. The events primarily take place in the ravine that connects to the Human Empire to the Dark Territory following the destruction of the Great Eastern Gate, as well as portions of the Dark Territory towards the southeast of the Human Empire. While the locations are limited in comparison to the previous novel in the series, the characters remain as varied in the narrative as before. On the side of the Human Guardian army, instead of focusing solely on Alice's perspective, the story will bring the perspective of the other members of the Integrity Knights Order to the spotlight as well. Eldrie Synthesis 31 and Dakira Synthesis 22 will act on their will, seeking redemption for their failures to protect their mentors just 6 months ago. Fanatio Synthesis 2 and Dusolbert Synthesis 7 will have to step up to face the unexpected consequences of their actions. As Alice Synthesis 30 prepares to decimate the hordes of enemies flooding the ravine, Berkuli must keep his focus to ensure the safety of the Human Guardian army. With her intimidating silence, Sheeta Synthesis 12 is tasked with one of the 3 support lines of the army, while also holding command over Linel Synthesis 28 and Fizel Synthesis 29, the troublesome twins eager for action, who spot a worrying turn of events on the flank. Eldrie as well as Renly Synthesis 27 were supposed to be guarding. Behind the army lines, Tiza and Ronye as well as an unresponsive Kirito under their care would soon meet the green-haired Integrity Knight who had left his position at the left flank support army to hide in fear, just as a horde of goblins sneaked through the front lines to sabotage their enemy's supply lines. Meanwhile, the Dark Territory side wasn't faring much better. Gabriel Miller had eliminated the leader of Dark Territory's elite forces, the Dark Knights, losing the floodlights of 3 other leaders, Fuza of the Assassins, Hagashi of the Mountain Goblins, and Kubiri of the Flatland Goblins in the process. As a result, half of the frontline pawns of the Dark Territory were being led by newcomer chiefs, Kosogi of the Mountain Goblins and Shibori of the Flatland Goblins, the former of whom had foreseen that his kind would be used as living shields and had thus devised a sneaky scheme to minimize his losses. The bulk of the preliminary force, however, were the Giants under the leadership of Sigurosig and the Ogres under the leadership of Furgur. Positioned behind the front lines were the Orcs under Lilpilin's lead, the Pugilists under Iskan's lead, and the 2 trump cards of the Emperor, the Dark Knights lacking a clear leadership, and the Dark Mages Guild under the command of their Chancellor Dil. The mages were surprised by the unusual lack of spatial resources in the area, preventing them from casting their dark arts. In order to resolve this issue, they required sacrifices. Thus, Dil was thrilled when the Emperor granted her permission to use whatever she needed for her dark arts. Little did she know, however, that behind those icy blue eyes, everyone in the Dark Territory army was seen as a mere sacrifice, while the real war would be fought further into the south with an entirely different army. For more on Sword Art Online, make sure to visit the Sword Art Online Wikia, check out these other SAO Wikia features that we know you'll find useful, and don't forget to follow us at SAO_Wikia on Twitter for the latest news on the series.